guys, this is Julie, the Maine Stamper. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I am back with another video in my series called Mondays Are Hard, Stamping Shouldn't Be. In this video series, I am exploring some fabulous cards with you that require minimum product and minimum efforts to create super fabulous results. So today we are going to create this beautiful card in purple, and it's got gorgeous irises on it. As you can see, I am also wearing purple today, so purple is our color. Points to you at home if you're also wearing purple. So we're creating this card today using one stamp set, Inspiring Iris. And this stamp set has more than just iris in it. It's actually got 3 different flowers. You've got irises, you've got carnations, and you've got another generic flower that I'm not going to name because I'm not sure it could be interpreted as many different kinds of flowers. I don't want to limit its use. So you interpret this flower however you like, but it has 3 different flowers in it. We're using the iris today, as long as the sentiment and some backgrounds. We've got 2 colors of ink. We've got Gorgeous Grape and Memento Black. And for our cardstock, we've got Highland Heather and Whisper White. So with those 3 little things, a stamp set, some ink, and some cardstock, we are going to create one beautiful, fabulous purple card. This one goes together super quick and easy, so follow me and I'll show you how. Okay guys, so this one goes together super quick and easy, and we always start with our card base, which is a half of a sheet of full cardstock, and I bend it over and hold the ends on one end, and I take my bone folder and create that nice crease right on the other end, and then I like to flip my card inside out and do another run with my bone folder. So this is giving us a super nice clean inside line. If you haven't tried this technique before, I highly recommend it. It really makes your cards look professional when you have that nice inner crease as well as the nice outer crease. So bone folder is super handy tool. Every crafter should have one of those. So we're going to start by bringing in our Gorgeous Grape ink. And we are going to be stamping with this stamp, which is actually a leaf filler stamp. So it is this one right here, and this actually would fill in the leaf for this flower. So this is what's 2-step stamping. So you've got an outline image, and then you've got other images that are going to color and fill in each of your images. We're going to be doing this with the iris today as well, but we're using this leaf stamp right now with some Gorgeous Grape, and we're going to create a little bit of a background on our card base. So because I want a little bit of a lighter color, I'm actually going to stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp on. So see how I'm getting that nice light purple color? And I'm just going to create a little bit of a pattern all the way up through the middle. Now some of this is going to get covered up later on as we're adding our layers, but that's okay because we're still going to see a little peek of it out the other side. And I am just stamping on a little piece of scrap paper. Sometimes I stamp on my grid paper, but I do like to reuse it quite a bit. So I also like to sometimes stamp off on some scrap, so that way this other grid paper stays nice and clean for a little bit. So we're good with the base. We're going to set that one aside, and we're going to bring in our black Memento ink. And we are going to start with the iris outline. I love this iris. So we are going to put some Memento ink on our iris stamp. So you see that I'm pushing the ink onto this stamp. It's just easier sometimes to get that full coverage. These are photopolymer stamps, so you can see right through them very easily. We are stamping a little bit off the end here. So again, you've got a nice paper to stamp on here, and these usually stick, so I just peel it off, and then we've got that nice image from our iris. So we're going to set this one aside. We're going to be adding some color to that in a little bit. Next, while we have out our Memento ink, we're going to take our sentiment, and I've got a little tiny piece of paper here. I like to put my sentiments on the smallest possible piece of paper. I find that I'm usually able to line it up a little bit easier if I don't have so much paper to work with. So I'm very happy with how that turned out. So that's my sentiment, and I'm going to set that one aside as well. And then we're going to move on to this piece of Whisper White paper, and we're going to use I'm calling it a background stamp. It's just kind of a long line of circles with little diamonds in it. And we are going to create a pattern on this paper, and I am going to use a Post-it note to help hold my paper in place. So the grid paper comes in super handy here because I'm lining it up straight so that I can kind of get a better run at getting these little images on here straight as well. So I'm going to start toward the bottom, and I'm going to try to get a full circle on the outside here, and then just go across. It's going to go across my paper. And then I'm going to go up a little bit and stamp again. So by using the grid lines, it's helping me to line this up kind of evenly. That one's smeared a little bit, unfortunately. I'm stamping and talking at the same time. Sometimes it's easier to not talk while you're stamping. I'm sure you probably do that at home. It also helps if you want to pull the paper down here, because the paper does tend to pull upward a little bit as you're going along. So you can certainly do that. I have used washi tape instead of a Post-it note to hold my paper down. If you're going to use the washi tape, I recommend that you pull the washi tape off the roll and then run it across your jeans or your shirt or something, or just unstick it a little bit, because washi tape can be sticky enough that when you pull it off your paper, when you're all done and you're pulling this off, the washi tape can tear your paper. So it's great for using, but you just have to take a little bit of the stick off of it first before you're going to use it. Post-it notes work really well also. So basically, once we get done with this pattern, it looks like this. So I'm not going to sit here and stamp all the way up through. But you can see that I've stamped and I've tried to get a full circle on one end, and then it kind of goes off on the other end. But you can vary this pattern however you want. You're just basically creating that nice background pattern. So I'm going to set this piece aside as well, and we're going to move back into some purple ink, and we're going to work on our beautiful iris flower. So for this one, we have the this is the iris stamp filler. So this is the flower filler. So if you're not sure which way to orient this, you can certainly do, like it's a puzzle piece. You put it on your block and you figure out which end is up. So this is going to go into the Gorgeous Grape ink, and we're going to do a full coverage, so full stamp here of the Gorgeous Grape onto our cardstock. And this is I love this technique where the image stamped looks like it's got high and low spots. It's got light and dark. So it kind of has almost like a little screen pattern in it. Beautiful, beautiful kind of a stamp. And next we're going to pull in the leaves. Now, normally you would probably do the leaves in green, right? Because that's what color leaves are. But because this is a minimal supply kind of card, we're using just 2 colors of ink. So we've got purple and black. These are our choices today. So to create the leaves so that they're not as dark as the flower that we've just stamped, I'm going to stamp them off to the side and get rid of some of this ink. And then I'm going to come back over here and line these up. And then this is second generation or 2-step stamping. So we've got all kinds of stuff going on here. So that gives us a lighter leaf color. And that's how we got all of these different tones into our iris stamp. So we're going to set this aside here, and we're going to move on to another fun stamp. This one looks like it could be a flower. Let me grab out the stamp case and I'll show you again real quick. So we're using this one right here. This looks like it could be maybe a tulip or a flower, right? This is actually the filler for the carnation. So this you would normally stamp in green and put it down here on the carnation outline. But today we're using it on our card just like it was a regular flower. So we're going to use that with full ink of the Gorgeous Grape, and we're going to just create a nice pattern. Create a lot of background patterns with our stamps, and I'm just going to put this on here every which way that I like and have those flowers coming in off the side and just get a nice pattern going here. You can do as many or as few as you like. Sometimes it's hard to stop once you get going though. Okay, so I'm happy with that. That looks really nice. So that's a dark purple, which is going to differ from our base where we used a light purple. So you can see we've got a couple of different colors going on here already. So that just helps to give us the look of a lot of different colors of ink without having to do all of those different colors of ink. And at this point, we are ready to do some assembly. We've got a lot of stamping done already. So I like to assemble my layers separately before I add them to the card front. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue onto, now this is where you look at this pattern and decide which end do you want to be up. There's no orientation on it, so you can kind of look at it. And as I've been making these cards, I really like having, once I put this purple layer on, this side almost looks like it's got X's and this side looks like it's got O's. So I really like to kind of separate them in that manner and have them facing in the right direction that I like. So then we're going to add our iris that we stamped and colored in onto some Highland Heather cardstock. So that's going to go together right there. And I left a little smudge there of ink. Later on, I may add a little pearl right there to cover that up. And that'll be really pretty as well. And so these are my layers that are going to go onto my card base. So I'm going to pull in the card base and I'm going to start putting these down as well. So we will add this layer off to the side first. This is our longer layer. Now here I am making sure that I'm putting it over to the side far enough for a couple of good reasons. First of all, I want some of this to show, so I don't want to hide all of it. So I'm going to send this piece over toward the edge here a little bit. And the green glue gives you some wiggle room here. If you've never tried the green glue and you're a tape runner person, I highly recommend it. I love the green glue. You can shift things around just a little bit before it sticks really tight. So we're going to add in, this is our iris flower, and we're going to add that up in here. So again, I'm trying to make sure I can still see some of my stamping that I did. So we're going to add that on to the front as well. And then last, we're going to add in the sentiment. Now the sentiment fits right over here. So if this piece right here, this layering piece was too far this way, your sentiment piece would be really jammed up. So you want to make sure that this layering piece right here is far enough over so that you can get your sentiment in here without it, you know, causing a traffic jam on your card. So this one's going to go down here and off to the side a little bit. And that is super quick and easy, right? I mean, we just made the most beautiful card in like no time flat. Now, outside is gorgeous. Let's see what we can do to the inside. So when I use a color card base, I like to add a white inside layer. And this is the one that I've come up with today. So we are going to stamp that just as easily as we did the front. So we're going to bring back in our outline of the iris flower, and we're going to ink it back up with some more memento. This time, when we stamp it, we're going to go down a little bit farther off the paper. I just want the flowers and the leaves to kind of peek from the bottom. I'm not looking to take over the entire white layer here because I want to leave room for another sentiment and, you know, my handwritten well wishes as well. We're going to bring the purple back in, the gorgeous grape. And again, we're going to do a full ink full of the iris for the flower. So we're going to get that nice dark image there. Then we're going to bring in our leaves and stem. And again, we're going to stamp this one off to the side or on a scrap paper. And then we're going to stamp this one right over top here. The beautiful thing about this is it doesn't have to be a perfect lineup. It's very artistic. It's off a little bit, but it looks fantastic. Now, we are going to bring back in the memento. And we're going to bring back in our background, and we're going to add a little bit of this as well. For this part, I like to turn my card and orient it so it's facing me this way. And then I can simply get a full line of this great background design on the edge. I find that that's easier than trying to stamp it like in this manner. So if you find one way or the other better for you, certainly give it a try. And then I'm going to stamp this one over here on the end. This one is going to go off the card base. It's not going to fit all the way across. So you can try to line it up however you like best. And that is the inside of our card. So pretty. So there's still room for a sentiment. There's still room for you to sign it, add a little note. We're going to put some glue on the back of it. And we are going to put this into our card. So this one went together super quick and super easy, but I'm gonna make sure that's nice and adhered from the back. And there it is. Beautiful on the inside, beautiful on the outside, and so quick and easy. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video as well for our Mondays Are Hard Stamping Shouldn't Be series. We created this beautiful card with the Inspiring Iris stamp set in some beautiful purple colors. I feel like purple always makes a card gorgeous. It's just one of those colors that really displays its beauty, and it just, anything that you make with purple is going to look great. So if you like the card recipe, go on over to my blog, themainestamper.com. I have all of the dimensions for all of the pieces of paper that went into this, and I also share pictures that show step-by-step assembly. And I also show, as a bonus at the end of that blog post, a card that shows some stepped up features, maybe some ribbon, some bling, so you can add more to it if you want to, or if you have product on hand. So I like to share additional ideas there on my blog, so make sure you're checking it out. I hope that you're finding this video series a lot of fun, and I'm showing you that with those minimal supplies and minimal efforts, you can create super fabulous cards. So please keep stamping, keep crafting, enjoy that therapy, and come back and see me next week for another episode of Mondays Are Hard, Stamping Shouldn't Be. Have a great week, everybody. Bye!